Hey, this is Matt Wenning at winningstrength.com, and today we're going to talk about the three major keys, in my opinion, to be successful and keep being successful in the future. So let's get to it. The first one I think that can't be ignored is number one, surround yourself with successful people. Now, whether that's lifting, business, any of these things. People are successful for certain reasons. A lot of it is because they have drive, they're passionate about what they do, and they want to push and be better every day. I find that a lot of the people that I hang out with are constantly trying to figure out a new way to either help themselves or help others every day. So if you look at like the top people that I've hung out with and consider great friends, Charles Poliquin, Stan Efferding, Rick Reichert, all these guys have really helped me out a ton. Eddie Cohen in the past, the greatest powerlifter to ever live. We're talking some major guys that I have either done seminars with or been great friends with for a long time. The point is that all of them are insanely successful in their own way, and that success radiates onto you. If you're around a lot of people that don't have passion, they don't have success, and they don't have drive, it pulls you down to where they're at. So my whole point to that is that be around people that are constantly pushing and not only trying to make you better. And sometimes those relationships can't be comfortable. Like if I'm sitting around talking with one of my friends and I have a bad attitude about a situation or something else of that nature, a lot of them will tell me, pull your head out of your ass and work harder and do this more, do that more, We all fall into that particular point of where we get depressed of how our situation's going, or maybe a situation is not doing what we want it to do. There's always a way to make it better. And a lot of times the people that you hang out with, if they're positive and they're trying to push you to the right thing, doesn't mean that is not always non-friction. There can be a lot of friction in a successful friendship or relationship that's trying to make you better, because a lot of times what you find is that the average people, they don't want to get better. They'd rather complain about shit. So the point is that don't be around complainers, be around people that get things done. Number two, and I think this one could be number one easily, is be consistent. And what does that mean? That means if you're working out, that means if you're going to work, that means if you're going to school, be consistent. The grind of day in and day out of what you're doing is the real magic long term. Not every day is going to be great. You're not always going to want to go in and train, and let's face it, we don't always want to go in and go to work. But the guy that keeps doing what he needs to do versus what he wants to do tends to be the person that becomes successful. And that becomes hard because at the end of the day, even I've been working out my entire life. And what I found is that even some days I get up in the morning, I'm like, I don't want to go. But the big grind is, what would the average person do? And that's what I do in my head. Would the average person prep their meals? No. Would the average person get up and go to the gym every day? No, they'd make an excuse for it. Or they'd not make it important. The point is that sometimes priorities aren't always fun. And sometimes passion becomes work. And that's where you find a lot of people kind of bow out. I'll be honest with you guys, and I don't tell people this much, but by the time I was 32 to 33, I didn't really enjoy working out anymore. I was really good at it. I was a world record holder, but I didn't enjoy working out. And at that point, I had to learn to just love the process and the day-to-day training. And that's where Conjugate System really helped me out a ton, was Conjugate helped me be consistent for 25 years. I honestly believe that at 19 or 20, when I first found Conjugate and Louie and learning how to train in separate ways, I truly think that is what kept me in the game for so long, is because once psychological burnout hits, it doesn't matter how physically fit you are. If your brain doesn't want to do it, it's hard to do. So I find that if you create a little bit more variation, it will help you be more consistent as well. Okay, and number three is another really hard one for a lot of us, and that is be open to new ideas. And what does that mean? That means training can be a new idea, right? We actually just shot a video about Smoloff and Chico and Conjugate and some variations and some reasons. But I'm still reading and researching a lot of other people's style of training. I'm still utilizing other exercises I see people use and tossing them in or out. I really think that the big key to understanding how to train is learning what exercises work for you. And the hard part with that is that we all want to see specific gains week in, week out, month in and month out. We want to see linear progression. But if any of us has been in the game for longer than, say, a year or two, you start to realize that progression is not linear. Progression is waving. So the body doesn't really get better in a straight line. It may over time, if you look at something in 5 or 10-year blocks, it's going to look in a straight line if you kind of rough the edges out or buffer it. But in reality, your training goes like this. And over time, it gets higher and higher. But at the end of the day, it's variable. And so what you have to realize is that some of that stagnation is being caused by doing the same lift over and over again. Or, like I said, reading the same book over and over again. Expand yourself. And that's what we've found, when I did a video about education. I'm not saying that somebody that goes to school is smarter. All I'm saying is that people that go to school and maybe push to get a master's or a PhD, they learn how to think in different ways. That's really the key. And when you learn how to think in different ways, other opportunities open up for you, both in training and business and everything else. So I hope this video has helped you a little bit to kind of expand. Maybe you're stuck in one of these areas and you're not even noticing that you are. So go on wenningstrength.com, check out Patreon if you have any questions, look at the website, check out the manuals. But I think this was a really good video for you guys to kind of get motivated and get ready for 2021.